Hi Avery, here's another story from Nanny, Max and Minnie. One cold winter's night, Max and Minnie were dozing by the fire. Their whiskers twitched as they dreamed. Suddenly, in the corner of the room behind the sofa, there came a little scuffling, ruffling noise. Max sat up. Something had disturbed him. Minnie yawned and stretched out in front of the fire. She sighed. Such a wonderful dream. Mice galore. Lots of juicy little sparrows, said Max. Both cats licked their lips greedily. I've never caught a mouse, said Max. I've never even seen a real one. Psst, what was that? A tiny scratching noise as if a small animal was scurrying across the floor. A mouse. Both cats sprang to their feet, and the mouse was off in a flash, running back behind the sofa to its mouse hole. The cats followed. It's gone, cried Max. We'll never be able to squeeze down that mouse hole after it. But he was wrong. The mouse hole, one mouse size, was now big enough for two rather plump cats. Come on, cried Minnie. What's stopping us now? The mouse hole looked very dark and mysterious. The two cats padded along until suddenly Max cried, Minnie, there's wood out here. How can there be, said Max. We live in the middle of town. Both cats poked their noses out of the hole and blinked. They were surrounded by tall trees. The wind rustled, filling their nostrils with wild smells of fresh rabbit and mice. It must be a magic mouse hole, said Max. Max looked, whispered Minnie, what are they? Through the undergrowth gleamed thousands and thousands of eyes. Max's tail lashed from side to side. I bet they are everything we ever dreamed of. Mice, rats, shrews, rabbits, and nice plump birds. Said Minnie, her mouth watering. Where shall we begin? Right here, cried Max, taking off after a squirrel. Max, come back, cried Minnie, but he had suddenly disappeared through the trees. As Minnie sat in the middle of the clearing, wondering what to do next, she caught sight of a green object hopping in front of her. It was too good to resist. Gotcha, she cried, snapping it up. Her mouth was full of green, slimy frog. She spit it out. It didn't taste good. So much for her first catch. What was that? A sudden rustle in the bushes behind her. Max, she called. A flash of white teeth. It wasn't Max. It was a mink, though Minnie didn't know this. But she did know the creature was upset and wanted to eat her up. With a yowl, she turned tail and sped off through the trees. The mink followed close behind her. It was pretty nasty being hunted. She could almost smell the dreadful creature's hot breath. Oh, please help me, someone, she said. But Max wasn't there, and Minnie's heart was nearly bursting. Then suddenly there was a loud whirling of wings. A large owl with fierce, round, yellow eyes grasped her firmly in his talons and flew her into the air. Minnie felt a bit sick. She didn't know if it was worse being chased or being dangled in the air by an owl who could eat her up at any minute. Then she spotted Max. He was struck up by a tree, meowing. Oh, please let me down, he begged. When the owl heard Minnie speak, he hooted in surprise. He had thought she was a rabbit. Then he dropped her and she fell down and down till she landed beside Max in the tree. I chased a squirrel up here, said Max, but I can't get down again. Both cats peered through the branches. The tree was very tall and its trunk was smooth and slippery. I wish we'd never gone down that mouse hole, said Minnie. I wish we'd stayed safely at home by the fire. Nothing like it was in my dream, said Max. It grew very cold and began to snow. We can't stay here, said Max. We'll freeze to death. So they gradually and carefully began to slither and slide down the trunk of the tree until thump, they reached the bottom. Now we'll find the mouse hole, said Minnie. The two cats began to look forward to a warm fire, creamy evaporating milk, and a plate of cooked chicken livers. But Max and Minnie were completely lost. The snow was fast covering all the woodland tracks. There was no nice plump mice, no birds, just a white, cold, unfriendly wood. Meow, cried Max miserably. Meow, replied a voice from the undergrowth. It was a cat, a large tabby with fierce yellow eyes. Lost, are you? Said the cat. Looking for your mouse hole? Oh, yes, said Minnie. How did you guess? I can recognize a town cat anywhere, he said. I can see you're not rough wildcats. And it's not the first time a cat has come through the mouse hole to the wet, wild wood. The two wet and hungry cats padded after the wildcat till they came to the clearing where Max had chased the squirrel. And there was their mouse hole. Goodbye, they cried to the wildcat friend. He barely answered them. He was off through the trees chasing a squirrel. I think, said Max in a small voice, I think I prefer my food served up on a plate. In a couple of twitches of a cat's tail, they were back in their very own sitting room. Max and Minnie curled up thankfully in front of the fire. They were town cats, really. It was all too frightening out there in the wild woods. The next morning, they looked for their mouse hole behind the sofa. It had completely disappeared. I love you.